Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. In today's video, we are doing a 2024 NFL mock draft. However, with this one, I'm doing it completely on the fly. I have no pre-prep into this one, and it's just going to be whatever I'm feeling during that time of the pick. So, number one overall, we have to consider the Arizona Cardinals as big candidates to trade Kyler Murray. To me, this makes a lot of sense for them to consider the quarterback position. It's going to be the favorite pick all throughout the entire course of the preseason here until we actually get into where the records are starting to change. But for the current moment, Arizona's sitting at number one. To me, I see them going with Caleb Williams. The Kyler Murray era would likely be over, and they would be looking for their next franchise quarterback. Kyler Murray has a lot of great natural ability. However, I think there are some leadership qualities that are slightly lacking in that department. I think there's some maturity things that are really required from the quarterback position in the NFL, and maybe I just don't know if I 100% believe he possesses those. Pick number two, we have the Arizona Cardinals once again, and what better way to give your franchise quarterback a chance than to give him a superstar wide receiver? To me, that's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. He is our second overall pick. Arizona made a very wise decision to move with Houston there. They ended up getting a top two pick out of that, and I think that they're primed to have a really, really great future with these two picks, number 1 and 2. At number 3, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and if the Buccaneers are sitting here, it's likely because of the quarterback play this year from Kyle Trask or Baker Mayfield, neither of which I think they're going to give a very large leash. This is going to be a short leash. I think both of them are going to play at some point in the season, and they're likely going to be looking to move off of one of them or both of them heading into next offseason. So to me, Drake May is going to be the quarterback for them. I firmly believe that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in a position where they're going to struggle this year potentially. They have good weapons. However, I just don't see this being a great outcome for either one of those quarterbacks. Drake May is that really, really awesome prototypical body, arm strength, athleticism, and could be a franchise guy for a team. Number 4, we have Indianapolis, and Indianapolis to me is a peculiar position to try to pick from. To me, I think they're going to look to get better at that edge spot. Jared Verse is in consideration. Dallas Turner, another guy that I really like, but to me, Jared Verse stands out. Really good lower body, terrific in run defense, and he is a pretty awesome pass rusher as well. Has a variety of moves, can win with finesse, can win with power, all of which are the formula for going 4th overall to the Colts. Number 5, we have the Washington Commanders, and Washington here with some changes along that offensive line. I think it's bound to happen where they opt to go with an offensive lineman. You have 2 really awesome tackles here, 3 actually if you count JC Latham into this. Olu Fashanu is going to be my pick. I like his athleticism. He's an elite pass protector. He's good in the run. I think overall that's exactly where Washington would be looking. You can put him at tackle, you can put him at guard. He's going to be elite at both spots, but Fashanu is my pick here at 5. At number 6, we have Green Bay. Now Green Bay is another tough one. I think that offensive line is going to be in strong consideration. I think you can also potentially look at that tight end spot as well. However, they addressed that this year. That's kind of a thing of the past. So I think they're going to roll to see how the tight end room ends up looking. To me, I think an offensive tackle is in line here. Joe Alt is my guy at number 6. Another elite pass protector, great on his feet. I think Joe Alt is going to be that Mike McGlinchey heading into this draft class. He's going to be rock solid, and Green Bay would be happy to include him in their offensive line plans for the future to really give Jordan Love the best chance to succeed. At number 7, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. To me, the Las Vegas Raiders are a team that also is going to be considering that offensive line. So you're going to actually probably see a run on tackles here. It's kind of tough because I see the writing on the wall. They're going to struggle in pass protection. JC Latham is going to be that guy to really fill that void. So to me, him going at 7 is the perfect fit. So I think this is kind of interesting. I haven't had this happen in any of the mocks that I've done so far. And part of the deal is, kind of what I'm feeling at that current moment. But to me, 3 tackles in a row is realistic for these landing spots. I mean, Washington, Green Bay, and Vegas are all in need of a premier tackle in this league. And I think that there's 3 elite tackles in this class, all of which go right in a row, 5, 6, 7. At number 8, we have the Tennessee Titans. And to me, the Tennessee Titans can go, a couple of different directions here. It's kind of tough because I love Brock Bowers. He really embodies what Tennessee's all about. Elite pass catcher, really good after the catch. To me, Brock Bowers is just too good to pass up here at number 8 if I'm Tennessee. At number 9, you have the Rams. I mean, if you're the Rams, I mean, you have to look to replenish that secondary, which now Jalen Ramsey is no longer a part of. You have Kool-Aid McKinstry, Kalen King. Those are 2 guys that are definitely on my radar here. Kind of looking a little bit further just to get a feel for what's available. To me, it's got to be Kool-Aid here at number 9. Number 10, we have Chicago via Carolina. Now, I think Chicago has to be in a position here where it's kind of tough because I think that there's still some room to improve along that front 7. So to me, Dallas Turner's in consideration here. I'm going to go with Dallas Turner. They invested a lot into that linebacking room, and to me, Dallas Turner at number 10. I mean, in terms of what he is as an overarching talent, he's tremendous. He's a creative pass rusher, and he's going to have a really good season and productive season at Bama. To me, I see him continuing to climb these draft boards, and number 10 is a very fitting spot. And then back to back, I actually have now with the Bears once again at 11. To me, Egbuka is going to be the pick here. They're doing whatever they can to put weapons in front of Justin Fields, and I think this is the latest rendition of it. Egbuka is super explosive. He has, solid, reliable hands, and he is terrific after the catch. Is one of his best attributes to me, and I love that for the Chicago Bears. Following that up is New England. New England, to me, has to be continuing to look for playmakers. If we look at the wide receiver position, Xavier Worthy would be the next best available wideout. It's kind of tough for me to actually justify going at that spot. It means a little bit of a reach at that point. Tua Maloa, to me, seems like the perfect New England rotational pass rusher. In terms of what he brings week in, week out, he has a good motor, smart player, great play recognition, isn't often fooled by the play, the play action. To me, that makes a lot of sense for New England to go in that direction. They just love having a plethora of pass rushers that they can, provide some versatility with, and Tua Maloa is exactly that guy. At number 13, we have the Atlanta Falcons, and I think to me, they're going to be looking at that edge rushing spot. Laiatu Latu is, to me, the best fit for what they should be looking for in a pass rusher. He's athletic, he can get out, make tackles in space, and he's going to be a big time, addition to that front 7 that, has Grady Jarrett already, but you add another nice pass rusher into this defensive unit, and to me, that makes a ton of sense. At number 14, we have the New York Giants, and the New York Giants are also going to be looking to address that front 7. I think Chop Robinson is an easy guy to plug and play into this defense with his scheme versatility. He's a very productive pass rusher. He's going to add a lot to this defensive line. To me, the New York Giants have to be aggressive here on that side of the ball. They've already done a really nice job putting together a defensive unit, and I think you can continue to add to it with Chop Robinson. At number 15, now we're sitting with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, to me, are another team that needs an edge, but I don't know that I trust it with the current board that's out there. Because we have Braylon Trice that is still sitting there. I love Braylon Trice. Jack Sawyer's another one. I think they might have to hold off on that one. I think with Jeremiah Trotter on that defense, that could be interesting. I also look at Kingsley Suamataia. I think Suamataia actually probably makes the most sense. Looking at that tackle spot, he has the versatility to play tackle and guard. Very well could be suited maybe better for guard at that NFL level. But Denver is going to look to improve this offense, and checking up on that offensive line, I think that makes a ton of sense. Adding to it, there's always injuries too, factoring in for Denver seemingly. So, getting Kingsley Suamataia is, the right selection in my opinion. Seattle, that's another guy that they've been looking at, in my opinion. If they're going through this pre-draft process and looking at him, Kingsley would have made a lot of sense for them. I think Seattle can really improve up front in that front seven. Jerzon Newton is kind of a fun play here. I like Jerzon Newton, elite run stuffer, can fill the gaps. He's an opportunistic pass rusher, and I think that's going to improve his sack total from last year to this year. And he's a big reason why Illinois was so tough to run on last year. There's so much that you have to love about his game. And I think that Seattle and the toughness that's required to play in that defense, to me, Jerzon Newton really elevates this defense to another level. At number 17, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And with the Pittsburgh Steelers, there's a couple of different players that could make some sense here. I'm just kind of looking at it collectively speaking. I mean, they could look at that corner spot long term. Let's see. Offensive line makes some sense. I'm going to go with Cooper Beebe. Cooper Beebe should have been a first rounder last year, ends up getting hurt, and the Steelers have to continue to get better up front, which they've already made an effort to, especially in this past draft here. So I think adding a guard that very well could be a Pro Bowl level player makes a lot of sense at that selection. So love that pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers. At number 18, we have the Minnesota Vikings, and I think I'm starting to consistently mock it now. I think they go quarterback. Michael Penix Jr. for Washington is my pick. I considered Bo Nix. I considered Quinn Ewers. Penix is one of those guys that should be incredibly productive. He has some nice weapons around him this year, as do the other quarterbacks. However, I think Michael Penix could put up some big numbers and very well could be the next starting quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings, considering that Kirk Cousins is going to be going into his contract season here, and they really don't have a true long-term plan at the position. Number 19, we have Houston, and I think the Houston Texans are in a really good spot here. There's a ton of defensive talent still left, so I think that's something we have to consider. To me, it's kind of like, you almost want to go best player available. To me, that's going to be Kalen King. Kalen King, as well as having Derek Stingley in that secondary, that's going to be a dynamic cornerback duo. This defense is going to be really tough to throw on. They were even a little stingy last year at times, especially in big games, but Kalen King really elevates this defense. His man-to-man is terrific, good ball skills. Kalen King at 19. Number 20, we have the New Orleans Saints, and to me, the New Orleans Saints are in a position here where it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough to know exactly the route they're going to take, but I think they end up still going corner. Denzel Burke is the obvious selection here to me. Another man-to-man guy he's very, very sticky in that regard. He's got, fluid hips, can break in and out with ease. That's everything that you're looking for in a cornerback. And to me, at number 20, that is exactly where New Orleans is going to go. 21, we have the Miami Dolphins. And with the Miami Dolphins, I think that there is some room here where they could consider, they addressed running back in the draft this year. Maybe they look interior defensive line. They could go with a guy like Mason Smith, who is so tough up front. So tough. Yeah, I think that's where we're going to go. Mason Smith out of LSU is going to be a difference maker for this front seven. You can move him along the defensive line, but better suited in that interior. And I think the Miami Dolphins, with the secondary that they already have, add in a guy like Mason Smith, this is a tough defense. Very, very tough defense, and you have to be in the division that you're playing in with Buffalo and, the New York Jets already in it. New England does provide some problems on the ground as well. To me, Mason Smith makes a lot of sense. 22, we have the Baltimore Ravens, and the Baltimore Ravens are also in a position where you have to question long-term with where they're sitting with J.K. Dobbins being in a contract year. To me, I think they actually end up going Blake Corum. Now, some people might say, oh, hold on, Baltimore's not going to take a running back in the first round. They don't really care about the people that say you can't take one in the first round. I don't think that's necessarily on their mind. They're looking for the best football player to put on that field, and that's been pretty evident throughout the course of their draft history. they've done a terrific job evaluating talent, and seemingly every year we deem them winners of the draft because they do such a good job in the pre-draft process. They're very methodical, and Baltimore 22 ends up with a terrific football player in Blake Corum. 23, we have the LA Chargers. Now the LA Chargers, man, it's very tough here. Very, very tough in terms of where do I want to go with them. Offensive line can make some sense. This is another one. I've been popularly mocking running back here, and I think that's probably what's going to happen. I'm going to end up going with TreVeyon Henderson. And with TreVeyon Henderson, he adds a level of explosiveness, the ability to break tackles, and I think he could flourish potentially as a pass catcher in this offense that's super friendly to that. Austin Eckler's done a nice job in his career, but I think the Austin Eckler days with the Chargers are very well coming to an end. So number 23, they want to continue to be productive in the run game, so TreVeyon Henderson is the pick. 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys, and I continue to go back and forth if I think they're going to take a receiver or a tight end. I think both of which are probably going to come from the University of Texas. I really, really do believe that. Jatavion Sanders is one that I want to continue to watch. I think they consider him there, but they very well could wait until the second round to address that tight end spot. A couple of guys that make some sense here. To me, Xavier Worthy just makes too much sense. He makes too much sense for this team in exactly what they're looking for, and that third wide receiver potentially. Xavier Worthy is going to have a big year with Quinn Ewers. They're going to have some continuity, some consistency, and he's going to put up some big numbers. 25, we have Green Bay once again. And I think when you consider the Green Bay Packers, there's a couple of things that you have to look at here. Already, with what we've done with their selection, we ended up taking Joe Alt at 6. And then you come back with the Packers once again and look at what else is currently available. And this is kind of tough, but I think Jeremiah Trotter would be a tremendous fit with this team long term. Cameron Kinchins is nice. Zion Nelson. I have my doubts that they would go another offensive lineman back to back here. Jeremiah Trotter could be really fun for them. I think they're going to look at best player available at this point. Jeremiah Trotter is the best overall linebacker in the class so far in terms of like where we're at with the evaluation process. You kind of look at the rest of the grouping here. We'll kind of fly through them, but there's none of these guys that are enough to really pass over that. So Jeremiah Trotter, with there being so limited guys right now that have truly broken out and proven to be first round level linebackers, Trotter makes some sense here at 25. 26, we have the Detroit Lions, and you have to continue to think that they're going to be looking across the board at what they have available. To me, on that interior defensive line, Leonard Taylor, another true run stuffer, a guy that is going to be the heartbeat of this defense. Culturally, he's going to fit right in. Leonard Taylor is a space eater. He absolutely eats a ton of space, and he could be, exactly what Detroit's been trying to fill on that interior. We've seen them the last couple of years take some swings at some guys on that interior defensive line, and none of them have stuck the way that I think they were hoping it would. This is a good team. Really, really good team. I don't think they're going to address offense. I think it's going to be so heavily focused on defense, considering with where they were at last year with their defensive numbers that you look at, the eye test, everything suggests that they should take defense in the first round. 27, we have Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a team that continues to look to build defensively, and I don't think that really stops here. Offensively, I think they're content with their weapons. They addressed the offensive line this year in the draft, so I think that they're probably going to stay away from that. It's kind of tough because I look at the cornerback room, I look at along that edge spot. I mean, with the uncertainty with Josh Allen, I'm going to go with Braylon Trice here. If you look at the actual track record of Trent Baalke, it highly suggests that he's going to take another edge. He just continues to take edges every year. I know they have Trayvon Walker in place thinking that, he's going to be that guy, but even adding a guy like Braylon Trice in is going to provide some versatility for this defense. Trayvon Walker is also athletic. You can move him around. So I think Jacksonville is going to consider that edge spot. I think they think corner here as well. 28, we have the Buffalo Bills. And with the Buffalo Bills, there's a couple of different spots that you would maybe think on going here. Let's look at the receiver spot. I think Troy Franklin is going to be a name that garnishes a lot of attention. Him with Bo Nix this year should have a very productive year. So to me, Troy Franklin, who's a burner, is going to be the perfect fit for this offense. Somebody that can stretch the ball down the field and really take the top off of a defense. You have so many weapons on this team just as a collective unit, but they're looking for a guy that can really do that for them. And to me, that is Troy Franklin. At 29, we have the Philadelphia Eagles. To me, the Philadelphia Eagles have to consider a couple of different things here. Just trying to think realistically, what would they do? Oh man, it's tough because there's a couple of receivers I like here. I think they would actually consider it. I firmly believe they consider it. I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors here. I think another year with Jaden Daniels at quarterback. Malik Neighbors is a really good route runner, and he's a nice complement to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This is a good group, really good group, and I think Malik Neighbors just adds to that. Number 30, we have the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are in a position where they have a lot of different things that they could consider at this spot. I'm just trying to think, what best fits for them moving forward. And it's kind of tough when you're picking on the spot here and just trying to think of everything that they need potentially in your head. They might draft for value here. I think Cameron Kinchens is a player that they consider, but Javon Bullard is ultimately the guy that they take. He has some versatility at the corner and safety spot. He can be a chess piece on a defense, and that is super dangerous for a team like San Francisco, who ended up losing D'Amico Ryans to Houston as their head coach, and now they have to look to kind of readjust their identity slightly with the current roster that they have. Javon Bullard is one of those exciting players that should very well get higher consideration in the draft than 30, but that's ultimately how it ends up falling here. So Javon Bullard at 30 is my pick. Then you have the Cincinnati Bengals, and I don't think the Bengals are going to shy away from the safety spot. Cameron Kinchens, just losing Jesse Bates in general, and adding a guy like Kinchens in here is immediate plug and play. I love this for the Bengals here at 31. And at 32, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City is in a position where they can do a lot of different things and address it how they want. It's kind of tough to not see them go with another wideout. I feel like they would. With the current wide receiver room that they have, Rome Odunze is my pick here. Yeah, I think that's exactly where Kansas City is going to go. I think they're going to go ahead and select a wideout. So we'll take a look at the actual draft results from the PFF. They're going to do their grades, everything like that. It's always interesting to see, the grading system and how that really works out. And let's take a peek here. As soon as it gets done grading, we can evaluate it. And it looks like they did not provide any here. But nevertheless, we have the actual collective list of what the draft looked like. Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison Jr. to start off the draft, followed by Drake May. A couple of other guys that ended up falling here that I wasn't really expecting to fall as far. Another newcomer to our mock drafts is Blake Corum here, starting to find his way in the first round. Travion Henderson continues to be a mainstay here for the Chargers in my picks, as well as Xavier Worthy going to the Cowboys. That is starting to settle in some of my mocks. We're seeing a little bit of consistency there. My favorite part here is the run-on tackles for tackle-needy teams, 5 through 7. To me, I absolutely love that from a perspective of just, being a draft connoisseur. Chop Robinson at 14, some good value. Terzon Newton, a little bit of love on the interior defensive lineman this year. I think there's a couple of other guys that very well could be in consideration on the back half of that first round. So if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, leave a like on this video if you did enjoy the content. Let me know in the comments section below who your favorite team is. I'm excited to kind of talk about that with you. And also, make sure to join our Discord. I'll put a link in the description below. Thanks again for stopping by, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.